The next stop on our architectural adventure takes us 500 miles southeast to the home of the old Wild West. We've swapped the lush coastal mountains of California for a rugged mountain range on the outskirts of Tucson, Arizona. It might look like a desert, but we're 2,000 feet above sea level and heading higher into the Tucson Mountain Range.
In this high-altitude environment, temperatures can reach 100 degrees in summer and plummet to freezing in winter. So a house built in these mountains needs to be robust enough to withstand the unforgiving local weather. The owners of our next mountain home decided to build deep into this arid mountain range, and in order to deal with this extreme environment, used a building technique that's as old as the hills.
Piers and I will be spending the night in this remote mountain home to discover what it is about this location that made the owners go to the effort of building here.
I think we're here.
I've got a code for it.
Good. Let's get in. I'm so hot. I can see the building.
What?
Look.
Now, a wilderness full of coyotes and rattlesnakes might not be everyone's cup of tea. But homeowners and San Diego doctors David and Karen chose not only to build their home in this harsh location, they also plan to retire to these hills.
Check it out. It's the same colour as the Earth.
It's good looking, isn't it?
Let's go.
Okay. God, you're so impatient, honestly. But you can't because of the scorpions and the rattlesnakes. You've got to have a path.
I think we're being funneled in to that point. So good buildings, you know instinctively how to get in. So I think that is the way in.
I don't think you're right.
The design for this award-winning house was heavily influenced by the most important element of this environment, the weather. The structure was cleverly positioned on an east-west axis to minimize exposure from the hot sun, whilst allowing light and air to filter through the house. The floor plan consists of two main areas for living and sleeping, each of which opens out onto views of the landscape. As the house was built on a single story and with no connecting corridors, the only way to get between each room is to step outside into the desert. The whole design is tied together by this unusual scattered cube staircase.
Check these out. These are lovely. It's quite graceful, shallow, slow steps.
Yeah, okay. All right. I mean, I can see they're beautiful. I can see they're really architectural.
What do you mean by architectural?
Well, exactly. Quite. What? How dare I? I can see they are quite beautiful. They are interesting. But I'm not sure. I mean, you know,
Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you?
But I suppose what I feel is, you know, I'm in my mid-50s and I'm not going to get any younger, and this is quite tricky to navigate.
But why? They're quite shallow. They're quite generous. They're quite big. They're also places that would encourage you to sit.
All right. I know. Yeah, I'm hearing it. Piers, it's so nice.
It's so nice. God, it's nice. God, it's nice. God, it's nice.
It's beautiful. You know what I really love about it? You've got the desert and the mountains on either side, and yet this house just enhances it and doesn't take away from it. And I think that's so wonderful. Preserving the natural beauty of these mountains was key to the design of this home. The owner's desire was to embrace rather than exploit this fragile landscape.
This is where the desert starts. Here, you know, I'm in the house, I'm in the desert.
But it's not just the clever positioning of this house that makes living in these extreme temperatures bearable. The walls are made from rammed earth, a building technique which has been used for centuries as a way of naturally cooling houses. A wooden framework is built on site. Then, soil from the desert combined with water and a small amount of cement is poured into the wooden molds and then rammed down to form a tightly packed series of solid layers. These high thermal mass walls absorb the heat during the day and release it at night, reducing the need for air conditioning or heating.
Overlooking the mountains, this minimalist bedroom doesn't need any curtains. But luckily for us, owners Karen and David have left us a gift. This is a truly stylish and beautiful bathroom. This has been chosen, very, very carefully. It's beautifully cut. It's so well tiled, this room. It's unbelievable. It's like glass. And then it mirrors the colour from outside, brings that landscape in. And yet, I notice, if you want to, you can open that window so you can be having a bath in the desert and the mountains. You can't really get a better view than that. As the sun starts to drop behind the mountains, Piers and I get the chance to discover what it's really like to live in this extraordinary environment. The owners built this home looking for an escape from their busy working lives.
This is their evening every day. How extraordinary is that? It's so different, yet it fits in so beautifully.
I love it. I think this is one of the finest houses I've ever seen, and I'm very excited about staying here. After our first desert shower, we're meeting the owners, David and Karen, to find out the challenges they faced building this mountain home.
Hello, how lovely to meet you.
Karen,
so lovely to meet you. I feel like I know you already a bit because we've stayed in your house, and I think it must have something of you about it, I feel.
David has had a lifelong connection with this mountainous desert, and 12 years ago found this virgin plot of land on which to build the house of his dreams. David employed local architect Cade Hayes, who is passionate about building houses which respect the natural environment. Cade's plans took great care to cause minimal disruption to the fragile ecosystem that exists here, and during the build only 3 cacti had to be moved. Such is the importance of the natural vegetation that a fine is imposed if any cactus is removed without carefully replanting it.
The construction people were very careful about the environment. We tried to save every bit of native vegetation that we could. It's a large structure, but the desert all around you is still very happy that you're there. If I did anything right, finding a brilliant young architect and then letting him do what he does.
Whilst Piers is getting the lowdown from David, I'm keen to find out from Karen the true cost of building a home in the desert mountains.
Thank you so much for looking after us. We have had the most wonderful time in your house.
It's been our great pleasure.
Take care.
Bye. Bye, darlings. Bye-bye.
It's an amazing house, but I don't think it's been particularly easily won.
Do you think? Because David seems in love with it.
I think he is in love with it, but I think that doesn't necessarily mean the journey's been easy for the whole family.
Do you think it's been the problem child for them?
Yeah. They've been through some stuff.